Hello and welcome to Open Innovation Thursdays, our podcast about the different chapters in the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation. I am not Marisol Menendez. You will be seeing her in just a moment. I am Henry Chesbrough, perhaps best known as the father of open innovation. And today we turn the tables and we're going to ask questions to Marisol, who has been asking questions of the authors all through this series. So, Marisol, welcome.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here today with you.
Well, we're glad to have you here as well, and it's your chance to uh, be interviewed now. And tell me, where are you connecting from today? I am here in Berkeley, California. Where are you connecting from?
I'm connecting from Spain, and it's been such an interesting journey all these months because everyone connects from a different corner of the world. And I always connect from different places as well. Today I'm in my car. It's blurred, but I'm in my car traveling between Bilbao and Madrid.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's right. You live in both places, don't you?
Yes. I have a mobile office here.
Well, we are very glad to have you. Today's interview is about Chapter 50 in the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation. So we're getting near the end of the journey. Your chapter comes at the end of the section of managerial chapters on open innovation. We have 8 of them in total. Yours is the last. So perhaps we saved the last for uh, for the best for last. Maybe take a moment, Marisol, and just let us get to know you a little bit and introduce yourself.
This is a fun. Well, my name is Marisol Menendez. I'm an industrial engineer. I was born in Mexico and I studied in Mexico. And I think industrial engineering was a critical choice for me because I learned to view the world in a system perspective, you know, talking about connections, talking about the relations and interactions between different elements, no process view. I worked for many years in different projects related to systems and processes and reengineering. I ended up working at BBVA, where I began to work also in innovation projects. But at some point, I was asked to create the Open Innovation Unit. And there was no banks in the world, no company in Spain at that moment with an Open Innovation Unit. So the first question to answer was, what was open innovation and what it could do for a company such as BBVA? And that took us to a very interesting guy called Henry Chesbrough. We met you at that point, and I always like to say that at that point I learned what I wanted to do when I grew old. I found what I was told to do. Maybe that many things that I was already doing had a name. Um, and so from then on, I began working in open innovation. This was back in 2010. So it's already 15 years dedicating to open innovation and then building up to ecosystem orchestration. I've been doing this. Well, I ended up being the global head of open innovation for BBVA, coordinating initiatives for the banks from all around the world. And it was an amazing opportunity and the possibility of connecting cultures and initiatives and everything. And then I began to explore and then I began to explore intersectorial innovation that took me to work in different other initiatives in the North, connecting the Nordics and other regions. And now I have my company working in open innovation and ecosystem orchestration.
That's amazing. You and I have known each other for many years now, and I also remember those that first meeting when I was at Asade in Barcelona. And we met up, had a lovely dinner. Then I came to Madrid and spent a day with you and your team. It was a wonderful moment for me as well.
15 years ago, Henry. And the interesting thing is that we keep learning and interacting and connecting. No, this is an ever growing learning curve.
Well, and let's learn from your chapter as well. You chose the title of the three dimensions of open innovation maturity. How did you pick that title, and what are the three dimensions of open innovation maturity?
Well, this is frankly a very interesting adventure for me. First of all, because there was a point when I wanted to do a PhD. So, and I enrolled to a PhD with Wim van Haverbeek and everything. And while trying to frame my research, which turned out to be more challenging for me than expected, no, I learned that the academic world is a very different world from what I was used to. And I went to a PhD course with you and Beam, and while discussing about this, I told you I wanted to do the PhD to somehow write down what I have been learning while creating the Open Innovation Unit at BBVA. And you told me, well, you might want to begin writing what you want to say, even if it's not in a PhD mode. And that was critical for me because then I said, okay, even like trying to maybe frame an airport book, no? If I wanted to write something, what should I write? And I began framing what I learned during my experience in BBVA. And it ended up being organized in these three dimensions that I called it three dimensions. For example, I wrote it down with a number three. And whenever I got academic reviews, they changed the number three for the word three, because I'm so unfamiliar with the academic way of writing, no? But the interesting exercise was to write down what I learned, and that's the first thing I did. I devised some tools. We can later talk about them. And so when you opened the call for chapters for the book, I said, okay, maybe we can try to see if this is something that is worth including in the book, which is at the end, it aims to be a guide for practitioners to analyze their strategy of open innovation and interconnect it to the organization in a way that helps to realize what value we are capturing with it.
You have a line in the chapter that I thought captured something very important about open innovation in a very short space. I'm going to read this quote. It's a direct quote from your chapter. The complexity of the open innovation process lies in collaboration. I thought that was a wonderful summary of what part of what makes open innovation so interesting, but also why it can be quite difficult to accomplish.
Yes, I think is the main learning I have, because at the end you realize it's about people. Collaboration is between people, of course, organizations, but represented by people, no? And understanding this ever changing landscape, it's a complex matter, I think. And that's why, and keep it aligned to what you aim to do. No, it's not something that you do and then just make it roll. And that's why I think
Mm.
conversations and continuous analysis are important.
So in the chapter, you talked about strategy, pop K, and mindset. Can you say a little bit about each of those three dimensions?
Sure. So the conclusions that I got, and this I have been learning once again, and so it's something that I've been confirming since I wrote this for the first time in 2019, is that the open innovation strategy has many layers. No, first and the most important thing is that you align your open innovation strategy, your innovation strategy, to what the company, the organization wants to achieve. So align the organization strategy and the open innovation strategy. That's the first thing. So this seems obvious, but it's not. While you are implementing in real life open innovation, both strategies tend to fall apart if you don't take care. That's why I put together in this open innovation strategy canvas the main variables that I learned through time. And sometimes maybe we tend to adapt or review. We can even integrate more variables if needed. But those are the main variables to discuss between the general management, the innovation teams, and the overall company to check if we are keeping aligned the company's strategy and the innovation strategy. So that's the first thing. If you make sure that they are aligned and you understand what you want to do right now, where are you today, and what you want to do in the future, then you might go to the second dimension, which is pop K. I named it before I learned there was the K-pop in Korea, which might have been more fun. But I wanted to talk about everything that is in the structure of the organization. No, the organigram, organization, processes and procedures, and even we talk about budgets here, which in Spanish is presupuesto, so it falls also in the P. And of course, if we integrate all this infrastructure, then you need to measure and keep track on where are you going. So we get to the KPIs. So for this part, we also like to look at the organization and what's the context of what we are trying to achieve. What are the procurement processes, for example? No, what are the realities of organization, and if the organization is ready to embrace what we're preparing with the open innovation strategies. And finally, we talk about the mindset alignment, I call it, but in this third dimension is thinking about what it's outside the company. So in the first two dimensions, we were looking inside the organization. And in the third one, now we are ready to find love outside the organization and find the right collaborations. And because, for example, now I have my own company, many companies approach to me asking, well, Marisol, whom should I begin collaborating with? Okay, first we need to see why we're doing this. What's your strategy? How will you measure success if you're already in the organization? And later we can see others.
So one of the things that I took away from those three dimensions came from the first, the strategy dimension, where I can see your industrial engineering training, the systems view. Also, you're not afraid of variables and complexity, and you've created a number of tools to try to map these processes so that they can be better managed. One thing you did in the chapter that I thought was very interesting is across the many engagements you've had with companies, you added together 118 responses to some of the strategy questions you ask these companies. And because of that, you can see both the current state and the future state that these companies are aiming for. And with these open innovation parameters, some of them we want to do more, but others of them we want to do less. So it isn't the case that managers always want more and more of every part of open innovation. They're much more judicious, thinking about where are we now and to get where we want to go, what do we need to do more of and what do we need to do less of? What were some of the things that really surprised you as you added all that together?
I think you summarized it perfectly. I think somehow first I validated that there's not a unique strategy. No, you need to come or consider what's the culture of the company, the risk appetite, for example, the budget available to do things. But having considered this, um, and this is part of the open innovation principles, is that we have finite resources. We need to prioritize as managers what we need to achieve, and sometimes you need to do less. No, and the question is, what can I do less? What's the pressure? And one way to get to this answer is understand how are we approaching to what we want to get from the strategy perspective. What interested me greatly, and I keep seeing this when I work with organizations, is that this is not fixed within the organizations. Companies change. Sometimes you want to have a lot of collaboration with startups, and at some point you say, okay, we have enough. We don't want more, no? And you can go to less. And so now we have like general trends among companies. I think, for example, now across the financial sector, there's a more judicious, as you were saying, approach to how to connect with the startups. And so there's like this, okay, let's connect less with the startups. Let's bring more of the academic perspective because we want to consolidate knowledge. In other sectors, they say, no. Now we need to speed up innovation. We need to bring all the fresh blood that we can. And so there are these trends and many learnings that we can bring from across different sectors. And also this cycle sense, after COVID, we saw this great change, people trying to be more conservative, maybe. But also COVID was a great motivator to activate connections with other sectors and be faster in bringing up some solutions, no? So there's always a mix, and this is not fixed. This is a continuous movement.
That makes a lot of sense, Marisol, and your data actually show that clearly in this chapter. You end the chapter with kind of a closing example of an insurance company trying to do open innovation. What is the key lesson for the readers from the experience of this insurance company with open innovation?
Well, I might say that first of all, the main work to define the open innovation strategy, it's an internal work. It's about self-knowledge. You need to know your own organization, and this is a very complicated thing to do. And also create an agreement. There are many things related to communication. No, do you think that maybe the finance guy will be always risk averse? And that's not the case always, no? So we need to connect the different departments and the different perspectives of what the company needs to really be real and true to that self-knowledge. If you do the right kind of exercise to understand where's the company now and where you want to go in the future, what are we working now as an organization, where are our strengths, and what are the areas that need more help, then you will be more efficient in the open innovation exercises, because then you can be truly helpful. No, today I was discussing with an open innovation leader in one of the biggest companies here, and they said it seems that sometimes we fall into somehow a resignation or maybe disappointment about the innovation processes. And when we were discussing it, my own perspective is that it always ends up about forgetting who you are and what you need to achieve. So I think that's the main thing. And the second is to work together with the rest of the company to be ready to process what you activate with open innovation. Processes, organization are important elements for that.
Well, this is wonderful, Marisol. Um, I invite everyone in the audience to take a look at the chapter. As Marisol has said in many of the other videos, these chapters are not only available in the book itself, but you can also access them through Oxford individually as well. I would further add, take a listen to some of the other podcasts in the Open Innovation Thursdays series. We're going to get to all 57 chapters, and we're getting pretty far now, which is pretty exciting in itself. Marisol, any final thoughts?
Well, I would say that maybe, and just because I'm talking today with you, Henry, it might sound a little bit cheesy, but if you follow up your dreams, somehow they come true, no? And for me, I found something that is very resonates a lot with my way of thinking and my way of viewing life. And this is something that makes sense in organizations. Open innovation for me is something that is key to grow and to create value in the future. And also, even if you are a practitioner, you can end up having a chapter in an amazing book about open innovation. No, so this is what I think takes to create big ideas in the future. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Henry, to grow in open innovation from the very start. You've been so generous into sharing knowledge and connecting and showing real cases and getting inspiration and getting to know people from all over the world. This is so unique, and I feel very grateful and lucky to have the opportunity to live my life in this world.
Well, Marisol, on behalf of the Open Innovation community, thank you for all of your time, your energy, your passion for collecting and sharing these stories, these chapters with anybody who is curious about these things. I'm so pleased that it has really helped you in your professional life, and I hope these ideas will help others in their lives.
Hopefully so. And also, Henry, just to share with everyone, on Tuesdays we are doing los martes de innovación abierta, because we are also bringing forward cases in the Spanish-speaking world, going with each of the chapters of the book, of course, not with the authors, but with real cases. And we hope that with this, we also bring back some value of what's happening across this Spanish-speaking world into the open innovation community.
Very good, Marisol. Thank you so much for this interview today.
Thank you, Henry. I feel the luckiest of all the 57 chapters to have the opportunity to speak to you today.